Hi, Lillian. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. It's great to see you.
It's amazing to see you too.
Yeah, congratulations on your baby. How old are they now?
She's, I think, 10 weeks now. So, like,
Okay.
going on 3 months in the three
Yeah,
month mark.
yeah, you're getting close.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's really big. She's like the size of a 4 month old.
oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, is she getting chunky now?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
very chunky.
Yeah, she looked a little chunky last time I saw her. I think a few weeks ago I saw her. Yeah. Well, I'm so excited to hear your story. I wonder, do you want to start by sharing kind of how that journey was finding out you were pregnant? Maybe take me back there. What was that like?
Yes, it was right after my first daughter's first birthday. And I knew I wanted a second kid, and I knew I wanted them close in age, but it was a little too soon. Going into a year postpartum, I was like, I still want them close in age, but maybe not this close. But a month later, like around August after her birthday, I found out I was pregnant. And it was a lot, but I was like, you know what? Like, I wanted another baby, so this is perfect. Like, it's all in perfect timing. And I knew I wanted to do things differently. So, my first pregnancy with Genesis, even though I had sisters who had babies a lot and I've seen pregnancy and seen everything, being in it yourself, you kind of like have no idea how it really is. And, going to all the appointments, I didn't know I could do things differently. I was just in the obstetrician realm. So I just listened to everything they said. And I kind of just took their word for what was best for me. And, I had some questions and concerns, and I was met with like, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Like, everything's fine. And everything was fine, but I just felt like I wanted more, I guess. I wanted things to be more intentional, more like connected, and not so like clean cut, like by the book, and just like in and out, 5 minute appointment. That's it. And so luckily everything was fine for my birth with Genesis, with my first child, and everything was good. But when I found out I was pregnant again, I knew I wanted to do things differently. And so I was like looking up online of like childbirth classes and like I didn't know what I was looking for, but I was just looking around like, maybe I should know more about this stuff this time around. And all I would see is just like hypnosis type classes or just regular childbirth classes. And I was like, no, that's not really what I'm looking for. Like, I don't know about that. I did want a natural, unmedicated birth. I really did want that for myself. And I was very nervous and scared to try, but I really did. I felt like that is what would bring me close to the feeling that I was looking for, a feeling connected and in tune and just with support from my partner and us like in totally engulfed in that birth experience. And then I found you on Facebook, and yeah, and we had that our first breakthrough call, and I just felt so seen and heard, and you completely just said everything that I was like looking for, of just like women are made to do this. We are empowered, and this is completely normal and natural, and like you should have that support and that one-on-one and like be seen like you are creating life, and that's how it should be treated. And I guess that's what I was looking for. It didn't feel like it was treated as creating life. And so, each week through the calls, it was amazing being with the group calls and being in a community of women, everyone talking and giving tips or just being there for each other, and then having support from you and teaching us everything from like emotional preparation, like affirmations and the guided meditations, to like physical prep, doing spinning babies. I was doing those every day, drinking date smoothies. And I truly believe all of that helped. And me being in like sound mind and body to be mentally prepared to have an unmedicated natural birth and to not tear either. And towards the end of my pregnancy, there was some complications like 41 weeks, I found out my daughter was breached. And I had, because up at that point, I had declined fetal growth ultrasounds, but I did want to get cervical checks. And I was wondering, like, where she was positioned, in my uterus, and if she was like engaged at all and what station. So we did a little ultrasound just to see, and it turns out she was breached. So, in less than a week, I had to research everything I could about breech birth, and I was scared, but you helped me through it. You gave me resources and things to look for, like sites to look at and everything, and told me that if I want to have a breech birth, I can, and it's totally normal and natural part of birth. And personally, it was a little too sudden for me, so I didn't want to go that route. And we did an ECV and it was successful. And a week later, 42 weeks, I'm still not in labor. And so I decided to induce at home and with the midwives brew, and it worked. It worked. And I went into labor, and everything was amazing, going through contractions and feeling like experiencing the intensity of my contractions and just being like I got this. And this is exactly what I've been prepping for all of these months. And it wasn't painful. It was just intense. It was like a completely different mindset associated around like discomfort. And I thought that was really cool and beautiful. And that's like what you especially like focus on too. And it's so helpful to be able to experience discomfort and just like kind of ride with it, and like it makes you mentally stronger. And it's amazing to see yourself do that. And once we got to the hospital, my partner Dorian, he's completely was with me throughout this whole journey of doing the group calls, asking questions as well. And all of that made us closer in our own relationship. And especially in labor, he was a go-getter, like a marathon, chasing me around the hospital room, getting me water, doing the counter pressure, helping me with positions, making sure I was okay and comfortable, and just speaking love into me and looking in my eyes. And like that is everything and more that I wanted. And it was so beautiful, and trying so hard not to cry in labor. And it was amazing. And it was everything that I dreamed of. And then I'm like 10 centimeters at this point, and I'm like practicing pushing and stuff, occasionally trying to get her to drop because she still is like high up. I did a cervical check, and I went ahead and decided to break my water because I was already 10 centimeters. I've been there for a while now. She wasn't getting any lower. And we went to do that, and we wanted to make sure where she was positioned because she was previously breached, and we wanted to make sure she was in a good position. And because I had polyhydramnios, I had excess of fluids, and that's why she was so high up. And so they didn't want the excess fluid to make her cord prolapse or anything. So we did a quick ultrasound, and it turned out she had flipped breech during labor. And so immediately after like 6 hours at that point of laboring, I think like 4 hours, 4 or 6 hours of laboring at that point, I was kind of drained. Like that kind of just depleted me in that moment of shock. I was just like, dang, like I've been working, I've been riding this wave of these intense contractions, and I've been doing amazing. And then she's breached, and now they're saying it's time for a C-section. And at that point, I thought that was the best thing for me. I was like, yes, I don't feel comfortable trying to do breach right now. So we got prepped for the OR, and it was a scary experience. It was pretty scary and intense being in there and being away from my partner. And they gave me a spinal block, and I'm in the OR getting ready, and they decided to do an ultrasound to make sure everything looks good. And she flipped back breech again. She flipped back the way she's supposed to go, head down. She was back head down while I'm on the operating table. This girl's dramatic. I was so shocked, and I was just so like, are you kidding me? I was like, okay, they're like, you're like, you still want a vaginal birth? You're gonna have a vaginal birth. We're getting you back to the delivery room, the laboring room, and you're gonna sit there until you can feel your body again and get ready to push. And that took like another 2.5, 3 hours for the spinal block to fully wear out of my system. And because contractions were like very slow at that point, I couldn't feel anything from the chest down. And so I'm sitting there, and then finally the medication wore off, and I was back into full blown active labor, 10 centimeters, and it was intense. And after that, it was a lot. It was hard. It was a lot to like bear through at that point, but I was still doing it. I was like walking around, just like trying to get back into that state of riding through the contractions. But at this point, I was exhausted, and we're trying to get her down and engaged, and she's still not really getting engaged. And I'm pushing at this point, and they're like, okay, you have to give it everything you've got. Like, you need to get her out because it's been a long time now. And so me and the delivery nurse are playing tug of war with a towel. And I'm like, I don't know, it was insane the way I was just like in this different state. I don't even know how to explain it. I was just in this different state of just getting her out. And it felt so amazing to push. Like it felt like such a relieving feeling to just push and push with the contractions. And I was just bearing down with everything that I had to the point of screaming. And then I felt like the ring of fire and I was just like, "Ah!" And I just tried not to lose composure. And I just was like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. And I just needed that feeling to go away. So I just pushed her out even more. And she was out and I just couldn't even think or anything at that point. And it was insane. I was like screaming when she had came out, and my partner Dorian, he said it's like I broke through like a dimension. He was like, it was insane seeing such I don't know, just intense like feeling. He was like, everybody in the room was like, oh my goodness. And it was just like this extreme feeling of like life being born, and just intense power of me screaming rage like her out of me, and like even though it was intense at that point, it was beautiful. And looking back, like I said, I wanted a spiritual experience and I wanted to be connected and to have this experience with my partner. And I'm all about like growth and things like that. And that was such like spiritual metaphysical like example of that. Like that was literally what got breathed into existence, is that exact experience that I wanted. And looking, like, I didn't realize I wouldn't have planned that for myself. I would have liked something gentler, but knowing myself and my experiences, that's exactly like it just makes sense. And that's exactly what was like planned for me. And it was beautiful, it was intense, and just moving. I don't even know how to explain it. It was just this intense feeling, and it was just this intense breakthrough, I guess, and of like strength, because I've dealt a lot with like, I guess, selling myself short and my self-worth and things like that. So that was like just an extreme like test, not even test, but just like showing that I am capable, I can do things. And it like put me through the ringer of like a very intense experience to just prove like how worthy and capable I am and how strong I am as a person, even though I may not always feel that way. And it really did change like how I see myself now and how capable I am. And I think that's just like prime example of motherhood too.
It totally is. Yeah, it sounds like it was an awakening to your power.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And I know that what you're trying to describe, I know that what that is. And it's hard to describe, but I would, if I could give it a word, I would give it power.
Hmm.
And it's a very intense presence to be like, as a person who isn't giving birth, to be there and witnessing that. Like you were saying, your partner and like the staff, are
Hmm.
like, whoa, like, it's this like really big, big moment of big power, which is your power, all
Hmm.
like coming through. And it's so primal and instinctual, and it just happens to you. It's not like you're like, time to channel my power.
Yeah.
All power, it's just like a dragon is born.
Mhm. In that moment, it was like make or break, because like I couldn't, they're like, you have to get her out or we're gonna have to do something. And so I really had to give it. And like with that intensity, I was like, oh my, it was like this moment of like it was like in my head, it was a split second of like, no, I can't do this, and like make this stop almost. And like, it was like either like make or break. Like, and immediately I was just like, go, like channeled that and just was like, no, there's no going back now.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Wow. Yeah, I remember being faced with sort of a similar experience internally,
Mm.
especially with my second, where I was like, yeah, almost like, I think the answer is no. Like, I think I don't want to do this. But then I realized that the only way out was through. And I was
Mm.
like, well, I guess I could either resist it and it could happen, or I could just choose to go through it. And then I chose that. And then it, still intense, but a lot easier when I picked that path. But there was that choice there and that doubt too. Wow. That's such a beautiful, beautiful story. And I've never heard of anyone have their baby flip breech during labor, which for those who are listening, if you feel freaked out by that, don't worry. It's because of high fluid. That typically doesn't happen if you don't have high fluid, but that can happen with high fluid. But I've never heard about that in labor. And then we're going to give you a C-section, and then you go back to
I
having
had a
a natural
yes.
birth.
Mhm.
And then you go back to having a vaginal birth.
Yeah, yeah, I had an audience. Everyone heard about it. I had like all of a sudden, there's like 20 people in the room. Once it was like time to give birth, everyone was like, I guess, skeptical. And like afterwards, everyone's like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe you did that. Like, we've never heard of this.
Yeah, I remember because I think you texted me like a picture and then you had said something like I didn't tear, I had a natural birth, something like that. And I was like, oh, cool. And then in the postpartum group call, I asked if you wanted to share your story and you said we went to the C-section and I was like so confused. I was like, wait, I thought you told me that you had a natural birth and you didn't tear, so like why are you going to a C-section? I was like, I was so confused and just completely hooked the whole time you were
Yeah,
sharing that story. Like, what? Like, you were on the operating table and about to have surgery, and then they were like, well, just kidding.
yeah, yeah. I was like, are you kidding me? But all right, let's do this. It was a lot. And
Yeah.
she was 8.5 pounds and her head circumference, that's why it took forever for me to push her down out. And because her head circumference was 15.5 inches or 39 centimeters. So, and that was like a really big for them. Yeah.
That's very big. Yeah. An average size for a baby's head is about 13, 13 and a half. 15 is very, very rare. I've only seen like a small handful. Like I could count on one hand how many babies I've seen be born with 15 circumference. And your baby being 15 and a half, I think is the biggest baby size I've ever heard of from someone that I knew personally through my program or otherwise. So yeah, that's a big baby's head. And then you did not tear.
No tears, no tears or anything, which, yeah, I was surprised, but yeah. And I definitely think it was like all of just like the preparation that I did. We were eating the dates, and I was eating date smoothies every day since like the beginning of my third trimester. And we were doing some, dang, I forgot what it's called, the perineal massage and the spinning babies too. And also all throughout labor, like I was doing all the positions and everything. So I feel like I was just very like my hip. And I was also getting a lot of body work done. I was getting acupuncture, which is all thanks to you as well. Like you suggested, because I had like horrible sciatic pain.
Mhm.
And I got acupuncture and massage therapy, and that really helped too. And I feel like all of that just like really opened up my hips and my pelvis and everything too. So
Mhm. Mhm. Yay, I'm so happy that you had such a beautiful birth. Not just that, I mean, it sounds like very wild in many ways as well. You know, like a lot of things, we can hold the nuance of it, but it sounds like overall you had the birth you wanted to have. The fact that you felt so like loved by your partner and he was so like present and there with you, and it brought you both closer together when you were describing that because I know you both so well, and I just have so much love for both of you and your family. I was just crying, like, oh, it made me so happy to hear that for both of you, it was that really beautiful and connective experience, which is the invitation that
Mhm.
every birth offers for a couple to get closer together. And you chose to really show up for the inner work to be able, both of you, to show up in that way that would allow for this really beautiful and spiritual and connective experience. So I'm so proud of you.
thank you so much. That really means a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, so you wrote me this testimonial and I read it last night and I was just weeping. It's so beautiful. Would you be open to reading that?
Yes, of course. Before finding you, I didn't even realize how disconnected I felt from my first pregnancy and birth. With my first pregnancy, I just kind of did what I was told. I didn't feel like I had a choice in my care. And honestly, I didn't even know I had to say. I just said it like, okay, we'll just go with whatever, and trusted everyone knew what was best. Thankfully, I had a healthy birth with no serious complications, but looking back, pushing felt so rushed and forced. I tore, and even though I was grateful for my daughter, it just wasn't the experience I wanted deep down. When I got pregnant with my second baby girl a little over a year later, I kept thinking back to my first birth and knew I didn't want to feel like that again. I wanted something that felt more holistic, more intentional, and honestly more spiritual. I wanted to feel connected to my body and trust it, but I had no idea how to actually get there until I found you on Facebook. Everything from learning about interventions, preparing my body and emotions for birth, and just the way you constantly reminded us that birth is natural and that we as women hold so much power was exactly what I had been looking for, and honestly, so much more than I expected. As the months went on, pregnancy became such a lovely experience. going through the learning modules, joining the group coaching calls, doing my spinning babies exercises, and making my date smoothies every day. It all became this routine that I genuinely looked forward to. Every little thing built my confidence more and more, and by the end of my pregnancy, I truly believed I was made to have the natural, unmedicated, low intervention birth I wanted. Being part of your community honestly shaped me into the woman I am today. It brought me and my partner closer emotionally and spiritually. It taught me what my body is capable of and that I have a voice and that I can advocate for the birth experience I want instead of just going along with whatever happens. Even though unexpected complications came up at the end of my pregnancy and during labor, I truly believed everything worked out the way it did because of the knowledge and confidence I gained through you. I still had the natural and medicated birth I wanted with no tearing to my beautiful 8.5 pound baby with a 15.5 inch head circumference. And after she unexpectedly turned breech during labor and I was almost facing a C-section. Looking back now, I honestly think that was the spiritual experience I had been asking for without even realizing. It wasn't because everything went perfectly. It was because I trusted myself. I wasn't afraid, and I knew I had the power to make informed decisions every step of the way. The peaceful birth method is so much more than a childbirth education course. It's love, growth, healing, and empowerment. It doesn't just prepare you for birth, it changes the way you see yourself. And I know everything I learned will stay with me for the rest of my life. Through every birth and season of motherhood, I'm so incredibly grateful I found you when I did. I just got chills for a second. I felt like I was gonna cry.
I feel like I'm gonna cry. I'm crying a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Oh,
really was so amazing, and it was all thanks to you. Like I've never met anybody like you before, and like having to experience like your love, your warmth and your support is just really beautiful. Yeah, of
thank you, Lillian.
course. I'm sorry. I feel bad for making you cry.
I'm just feeling it. It's so special. It's so special too. Really, like my intention in the work that I do is to love all the mothers that I work with and to bring them my love and give them my love because a lot of women are going through pregnancy and birth in a model in a container where there isn't love. And I really feel like the way birth should be, the best approach for birth is for everyone to give birth with people who love them, with care providers and doulas and birth workers and family who love them. And because the Western medical model is so liability oriented and providers see so many people, there's not love, but there also isn't like genuine human connection. I mean, every experience is different, but on the wide scale, it's very much like a procedure and a thing that we just do and we check the boxes. And that's totally outside of nature's design. So I really believe that the best way that I can support women in having, beautiful and peaceful birth experiences is to give them love, my love, and to love them and bring that love into everything that I do. And for the program to be not just like, let's get ready for birth, but like to support you in your initiation into motherhood and to give you tools that you take with you for the rest of your life. And hearing you say that that is what you received means so much to me because not everyone like receives that from me or is open to receiving that. They just are kind of interested in like learning the tools and that's all and that's okay. It's the way that I want to serve is to build those connections and love everyone that I support and give them the tools and the empowerment that they'll take with them for the rest of their lives. And that's the way that you received the program. And that makes me just so happy and feel so good. Like I feel like I, really helped you. And so I was just crying because I was feeling that, the gift of that reflection to me, so much to me. So thank you.
Of course, thank you. Yeah, it is really shown in everything that you do. And like I said, it's just I'm so happy I met you. Like you are not just somebody that is like a small part in my life. Like you have been a pivotal part of my life that you'll be with me forever and always because you just made such a huge impact. Like this has really meant so much to me. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. You'll be a part of my life forever.
Thank you.
I'm always going to love your family. I'm always going to be here for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, totally. So if there was a mom who was on the fence about joining my program, like she knows about the program and she maybe wants to join, but she's not that sure if it's worth it, what would you say?
I would say it's totally worth it. Everything that you get is more than just like an educational course we've been talking about. It's way more. If you really take it seriously and this is what you want and you're not quite sure. It's just everything and more than you can expect. You get that love, that care, that support. You get the knowledge and of of your body, the mechanics of your body, and how pregnancy works. And then also all of the medical terms of anything that could possibly happen in a birth scenario and how to advocate for your best decision and best scenario that you would like for yourself. And even though birth may not always go according to plan, you still get that emotional support and preparation to be okay and still, in the face of scary decisions, do what's best for you. And that is unmatched. And from what I've heard and seen, like, you don't really get that much in a lot of other childbirth courses. And it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And so I would say, yeah, it's totally worth it, and just do it, you know?
Yay, thank you so much. And
Yes.
last question would be if there's a mom listening who's pregnant, who just, is looking for some advice around birth, what would you say to her?
I would tell her that she's capable, she is strong, her body was made to do this, and that I'm here to support her. And to go look up Victoria Tippins and her peaceful birth method, and she will literally be with you every step of the way. If you have any fears or anything, to join her course, and everything will be okay.
That's beautiful. Lillian, thank you so much. This was like such a special gift that just blew my heart wide open. It was so nice to see you and hear everything that you had to say. Thank you for taking the time to share your story with us and with me.
Of course, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.